everybody, welcome. This is Wendy. I'm excited to make this really cute card for you today, and I'm using the Pretty Kitty stamp set, Bella and Friends, Weather Together, and I'm using just the little presents from those, and then the Ready to Pop Happy Birthday Sentiment. So I'm going to get started today doing some stamping. I'm using my Misty tool because I'm stamping on Strathmore watercolor paper, and I'm using StazOn black ink. And sometimes when you stamp on watercolor paper, because it's coarse, your image doesn't always come through real clear. And so I use the Misty so that I can just continually re-stamp the image in the exact same spot until the image is dark enough and solid enough around the edges. So that's why I use the Misty stamping tool. And I'm not going to show you all my stamping because this video is really long, and so in order to save us a little bit of time, I just showed you kind of here the first couple of times that I stamped so you could get the idea of how this works. I absolutely love the Misty tool. I use it pretty regularly, and I really recommend that you get one. I have one of the originals. I don't have one of the newer ones, and mine works perfectly fine. So you can get that online at Sweet Petunia, My Sweet Petunia. Okay, so the Bella and Friends stamp set is the one that I'm using here to get started, and I absolutely love this stamp set because I love dogs. If you watch my videos, you know that. And I have the little Pretty Kitty down at the bottom. The cool thing about the Bella and Friends stamp set is it was designed or created with Angie Judah, who is, you might know her as My Chicken Scratch, and she's just the sweetest person, and I've known Angie now for a few years, and I really think she is incredible. And she has a little dog named Bella, and she has a little parrot type bird. I don't think it's a parrot, I think it's something else, but it kind of looks like a parrot, named Skittles, that's green. So I was excited to get this, and I'm actually going to mail Angie the insert for this stamp set so that she'll sign it for me, because I just think that that's fun. So anyway, I'm getting all my stamping done here, and I used a mask for that one present to create a bunch of little presents down at the bottom. Now I am taking a moltow masking pen, and I'm going to be coloring this all of these images with this pen. It's a blue liquid substance that comes out and it dries on top to prevent any color or anything else getting on your image. So it ends up looking like this. So it kind of is funny because it looks like I have all these blue, like I've painted all this stuff blue, but that masking fluid rubs off. So I'll show you that in a little bit. So now I'm going to take one of my pigment liners that I have, and it will not bleed or run with water, so that's why I'm using this. And I'm going along and just making a little line to make myself a place that separates the sky from the ground. So that's what I'm doing there. And so in my head, this is how this all came about. I imagined this little kitty cat on the ground looking up, laughing at the dog who's being taken away by the balloon, and it's his birthday. So that's in my head how this goes. And then the bird meets the dog in the air, and the bird's like, what are you doing up here? Like this is how I come up with things. I imagine whole scenarios in my head. So Bella, I guess, is a girl technically, and she takes off floating in the air because she's attached to this balloon. She runs into this cute little bird, Skittles, and Skittles is like, what are you doing up here? You're supposed to be on the ground. And Bella's like, I know, but, you know, I'm getting taken away by this balloon. And all the while, being a cat, because that's how cats are, this little kitty who I'm going to name, I don't know, let's name her Rhonda. That just sounds like a good name. And actually, Rhonda is really good friends with Angie, so that's kind of funny that I would pick that. But anyway, Rhonda is on the ground, and she's laughing at Bella, who's floating away in the air, and she's thinking, I'm going to keep all your presents. Little does she know they're all dog bones. Ha ha ha. She's not going to want them. So now I'm just taking my watercolor pencils, and I am coloring in using some blue. I'm using Prisma watercolor pencils, and I'm just going to color this whole sky a blue color. And this is where I didn't cut anything out. I'm showing you all the coloring so you can see kind of how I do it and what it looks like. And so as you can see, I'm just literally going over the entire background with this blue color. And then I'm going to bring in some darker blue because I wanted to have some variation in my sky. So I'll color that in as well. And I hope you don't mind that I shared that big long story with you about the cat and the dog. A lot of my stamp sets, when I get them, I have ideas for them. And in the past, I've been really bad about not trying to make those ideas come to life on the page. And that's for two reasons. One, because I was a very novice stamper. I've only been stamping for 5 years. So I didn't really know how to make a lot of my ideas come to fruition. And if you feel that way sometimes, I can just tell you, hang in there. Like, I really, really struggled with that for a long time and not quite understanding how to, okay, I have this idea in my head. I know how I want it to look, but I don't know how to get that onto paper. And I'm just starting to really grasp and learn how to do that. So this is one of my many ideas that I had for stamps in the new stamp set, in the new catalog. Speaking of the new catalog, if you need a new catalog, you can message me. If you would like to place an order with me, I would love that. That would be wonderful. I'm reaching towards a pretty big goal this month. And so all the orders help. I always appreciate my orders from my wonderful customers. If you're not already familiar with my free card kits that I send as a thank you gift for your order, you can check it out over on my website at loveandstampin.com. Okay, I did decide to go ahead and cut out some of the coloring because it's too long and we would be here all day. So I went ahead and cut out the last bit of coloring there, and now I'm using my adhesive remover to peel away all of that moltow masking fluid. And you can see it just leaves a perfectly white surface underneath. So you don't have to worry about a bunch of color getting into the images that you've already stamped and messing them up. Okay, so I'm taking kind of a limey green color here and coloring in Skittles, the parrot. And then I am going to go over her or him, I don't know, him or her, with some water. And that just kind of softens all of that colored pencil look and makes it look like watercolor. And as you can see in my sky background, there's a lot of variation in color. There's some little bit of white left, there's darker blue, lighter blue, and that's on purpose because that's how the sky looks, right? The sky is not just one solid blue color. So that's something fun to do when you're using watercolor pencils. I'm using a red to color in the balloon because I love a red balloon in a blue sky. I don't know why, but it absolutely just makes me happy. Like, it makes my heart happy to see red balloons against a blue sky background. So I did that. And then I have this color that I should have tested first because I ended up really not being happy with the color once I used it, but I was committed at that point, and I'm not fancy enough to know how to fix that. So that's part of that whole learning thing, right? So I really wanted Bella to be white, but sometimes in order to make something white, you have to add some color to it, which I have learned, and that is super weird, right? But that is how it works. You have to add a little bit of color and then you leave a lot of white space, and then that tricks your eyeball into thinking this is a white dog. The problem with this is that the colored pencil I used was a little bit more brown than I wanted it to be. And so when I started to color Bella, I found that she was turning much more brown than I wanted her to. But as I said, I was committed. It was too late, so I went with it and I did the best I could. And in the end, it ended up looking fine, so it was not a big deal. And she just kind of looks like a little bit of a brown dog instead of a white dog. At the end of this video, I actually have where I'm showing you a Copic marker version of this card. So hang tight for that because that'll be at the end. I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead on some of this coloring because I am certain you don't want to be here for 25 minutes or whatever length this is. And so you kind of have the idea of now of how these colored pencils work. You use them, you color with them, and then you go over them with some water. And I'm just using my aqua painter that I have from Stampin' Up! To do that. So that's how that works. We're going to skip ahead here. And voila, through the magic of television, we have the finished card. So I have this little bitty piece of black paper that I embossed the happy birthday sentiment on, and then I cut a little fishtail so that I could put it right there at the top, and I popped it up on some dimensionals. And then I have my foam tape adhesive that I'm going to use all across the back of this card to pop it up on a piece of basic gray cardstock that's cut at 4 1/4 by 11. I want to mention it's really good to use foam tape adhesive when you do any watercoloring, because it kind of flattens your card out, because the paper will tend to warp a little bit when you add all the water to it. I also want to mention I would love it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are not already subscribed, and if you could like this video, that would make me super happy. And you can see all the supplies that I used in the description down below. There is a link to my website, and that is where all of my stuff is listed. So make sure you go there if you want to purchase any of these stamp sets or see where I got my Misty or Prisma watercolors. Here is my Copic card. So I practiced using my Copic markers on a practice sheet, and then I colored with Copics. So you can tell me in the comments below which version you like better. I think they both have their appeal, and it kind of just depends on what you like better. I'm a clean and simple girl, so I kind of like the Copic version better because I can see my shading a little bit better in that card. So you tell me what you think. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day. Bye-bye.